So, if we are worried about Cyclone Alfred 2025 impacting the whole Australia in different ways, and especially in the coast, southeast coast of Australia, we know that it is impacting Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, Brisbane, and Lismore, Ipswich, and all those. The city is really impacting with the great cyclone coming up. And I had an opportunity to be with Brisbane friends, and I had to leave Brisbane early because of the news of the closure of airport. So I reached home safely yesterday, but I was there with my friends who were preparing for this great cyclone. And then we know that this is a cyclone that is coming after 50 years, and then we didn't have much preparations for the last one that we had, like a very severe impact in 2022. And then we know that Lismore is a place we always have different flood issues. And this time, the government is taking as much as precautions that they can so that they can avoid the incidents that may happen during this time. And it is really unpredictable that how that will come, even though the whole science and technology is helping people to understand the path and the intensity of this cyclone, isn't it? So I was reflecting on myself when I was going through this in my own life, and then finding out different attitude and mindset of the people back in Brisbane. What is the cyclone? Cyclone, it's more of like that real worry that is happening in your life. That's what I felt rather than that natural disaster, that some scientific reason behind it that's totally not my area. So I'm not going into there. But during this Lent season, I'm asking myself a question. Am I ready for cyclone? I know that Brisbane is ready for cyclone. They are taking as much as precautions that they can. They are taking people to the shelters. They are giving sandbags to protect their houses. They are giving them opportunity to buy as much as food they can. They allowing them to keep the gas cooking uh, opportunities. So if the power outage is happening, they can still live peacefully inside their house. They are giving them opportunities to cut all the big trees so that it won't come back or fall off on your houses. And they are taking great care to the vulnerable people and homeless people so that they can save their life. So the whole country is preparing for this natural disaster. Yes, it is a disaster, and we can prepare for that because the technology is telling us this will happen, and this is the route, and this is the time, this is the way it impacts in your area. Hold on then. How about how about our spiritual cyclone? Are we having any notification about the spiritual cyclone happening in our life? Are we getting any notification from any government or any organizations? Are we getting any precautions? Or are we doing any precautions? Or are we aware of this spiritual cyclone? So today I am reflecting. Yes, it is more of like my personal reflection and what I learned or what I saw at Brisbane preparing the physical disaster, how I can compare that physical to my spiritual journey. That's what I'm going to share with you. Only three things that I am picking for my spiritual journey, and I believe that will be useful for you as well. If you are journeying with me during this Lent season, I will be sharing this because the three R's that we discussed before is connected to the cyclone. So I take the cyclone Alfred as a motivation for me to think about to reflect about the spiritual cyclone that can happen anytime with no notice. So when we go through the spiritual cyclone, there are three differences and similarities compared to Alfred cyclone. Okay, so if we think about the physical cyclone, it is clear we have a spiritual cyclone is coming there with not clear notification. Alfred is coming with many different notifications, and all media picking those images and news and all the technology to notify the whole people. That is what the physical preparation happening, because the media, the people are notifying about this physical cyclone. So one thought process that I did in my life during that time when I was walking through the heart of Brisbane city yesterday, I was thinking, am I getting enough notification about the spiritual cyclone? Am I having enough preparation for that? Am I getting enough guidance on that topic? The answers I got from my own experience was no. And I was thinking, why? Is God silent about it? Or do you think that God doesn't want us to know about it? I felt like I am not hearing. That doesn't mean that God is not telling. If you go through the Holy Bible, especially in the Old Testament, there are many different places. God was warning the Israel people not to do this and to do this because he always gave warnings before he does something. The great example is the incident happened to Abraham. God was telling in the Holy Bible, why should I have to hide from Abraham what is going to happen? So let me tell before it happens, because I know that it is going to happen. And that's how God told Abraham that he will become the father of many nations and then his children will be endless. And then he was given that prophecy from God because he's the creator. He knows what is going to happen, right? Yes. So, my question whether God is hiding from me, the answer was no. Then, what is the reason that I am not getting enough notification about my spiritual cyclone? The answer that I got is I am surrounded with lots of noisy things that I can't really hear God's notifications. Yes, I have lots of notification in my mobile phone, my laptop, my alarm, and lots of noises from different things, like maybe from my boys, my phone, my conversation with people. Everywhere, I'm getting lots of noisy conversations, and I'm not becoming still to hear God's notification. So, the first lesson I learned through this Brisbane travel is there are many notifications available from God about the spiritual cyclone that's happening or going to happen in my life, but I may not hear that because I am surrounded by noises. So, this is where the power of that Bible verse took me into that real core of my heart. Be still and know that I am God. And that's what one reflection that I got during my Brisbane travel on this specific days of cyclone. Yes, there are many millions notification that your creator is giving you about the spiritual cyclone, but you need to be still and listen to his voice. Yes, that's where your reflection. And that's 1 hour that you should be doing during this Lent. Reflect on yourself. And then you can reflect through silence. And if you reflect in silence, you can hear God's warnings and God's sound and God's plan and God's prophecies about it. So, are you ready for this silence in this Lent season? It's totally up to you. So, I was looking at the next preparation, that physical preparation Brisbane was doing during my visit to prepare for cyclone. What was next? Physical preparation. They were gathering all the loved ones and they were calling all the people that they know and then checking whether they're okay, and then finding out that community where they get the food, where they get the shelter for people who are really vulnerable. I can clearly see that everybody is really keen on giving support to one another. I saw from the different posts in the social media, the Emmanuel community started a 24 by 7 surveys open for anybody and everybody who needs some food, shelter, clothing. These people are also impacted through the cyclone, but they are ready to care about other people and checking on other people. That really touched my heart because we are all going through a disaster, but still they are ready to serve the community and then gather the loved ones closer. That's a great model that I can connect to the Lent. That's more of like I felt like it's a renewal in your mind. When you felt that you are in danger, you understand that you can't really survive by yourself. You need to think about the other people around you and then do something that you can do to that other people. So it says spiritual serving community. That's what I felt seeing these loud people, like, they are thinking about their loved one and other people around the community. So I just want to connect that faith through the spiritual community. So if you are going through that spiritual cyclone and through that darkness time, what you need to really do, you need to connect with that community that serving faith-based spirituality, or that serving that positive spirituality. Connect with those people because that will help you to be more closer to God rather than more closer to that spiritual disaster. So if you want more of like a connection during this disastrous or spiritual cyclone time, one thing that you need to do to connect with that renewal group, renewed group, especially the people who are ready to support in spiritual way. And there are many in this world. The only problem is to find out the right bunch of people. So you need to have that community support in your spiritual life as well. So if you are going through that spiritual cyclone, you need to find out a community that will help you, that will shower you with all the blessings. Can be some prayer support, that can be a real support to come out of your mindset where you are anxious and worried about your spiritual issues. So that's the second R I identified during this Alfred preparation. Yes, we are preparing and providing food and other things to the loved ones and to the community the same way in your spiritual warfare. And if you are going through that spiritual cyclone, you should be connected with the people who already renewed and serving for that spirituality in and around your area. Then you need to find out those people. That's a real strength. And I was going through the third one. The main issue that they mentioned is there is a power outage going to happen to prevent the issues like, if you are having the power and the trees are going through the power line, that will impact too much distractions to the people. So to save the people from more danger, they are taking the power off during this high wind and storm time. So everybody is notified about the power outage, and everybody is noticed about the water, because they mentioned that if you are having that storm and then flood, the water that you are getting in your pipeline will be muddy, and then you may not able to drink it. So everybody is asking to do something to overpower this power outage and the water issue. And then you know that if you don't have a power in your house, you can't even use your phone, your microwave, your fridge, your stove. You can't really use anything. So what you can do, you need to take some gas cans, for the one that we usually take for barbecues, or the one that we usually take for camping. So what I saw that the people are sharing or preparing for these things, and at the same time they're preparing the water. They're filling their spas and then bathtubs with the clean water, so that they can use during that time when they were having this stormy days. I loved that idea. And thinking about that spiritual cyclone, yes, there is a darkness over there. There will be the time that you do not have that power, that positive energy. You will be in total darkness. And at the same time, you may not have that good energy to drink your for your spiritual nourishment. So that is a reality in your spiritual cyclone. Yes, you should prepare for your power outage and your water issue during your spiritual cyclone. What are we doing with for that? Are we having proper connection to our creator, connecting with the positive prayers, connecting with the people who can help us during that time? So that's where I felt like the anger, the anxiety, the doubt, and self lack of self-worth, all these things will impact this power outage in your life. So you need to reconcile with yourself. You need to reconcile with other people in your mind and forgive them, so that your darkness will go down and then you can light up your spiritual life. So that's where the power of reconciliation. So to sum up, the Alfred cyclone. Are we prepared for Alfred? Yes, we are. Still, we know that there will be some trouble, there will be some aftermath, but we are ready to clean our house and clean our community, because we know that there is an impact. Same way, the spiritual cyclone that's hitting into our life, we know that we need to do some cleanup, some preparation, and that's what this Lent for. With the 3R, you need to reflect on yourself, your spiritual life. You need to reconcile with yourself and with the people around you, and then connect and renew by having close spiritual community that will nourish you during this dark time of your spiritual journey. So I encourage everybody to keep that 3R during the first week of Lent and prepare for the cyclone. Yes, the spiritual cyclone. This is Bisni Palati on 88.9 FM on the very special show called Dominus Nisi.